This is the 2021 Toyota Camry, the #1 selling car for Toyota. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of improvements for 2021. And if you've owned a Camry in the past, you'll be pretty happy to see some of these changes. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix. If this is your first time to the channel, we do a lot more than car reviews. We give you first looks of new vehicles, and we give you car smarts because we believe knowledge is power. Make sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you don't miss anything. This is the 2021 Toyota Camry Hybrid. Now, the Camry itself is the #1 selling sedan, but this hybrid has become very popular, and this is the XSE edition. There are 4 different trim levels, and we're going to look at the top trim level, the sportier trim level, that looks a little different. You might notice the black top, the black mirror caps, and the black wheels. That's the sportier edition. There's also the XLE, which is the more luxury. There's a little changes on each, but this vehicle is a great example of what is available so that you can make a decision. When you go to the dealer is going to try and sell you on this vehicle because that's their job. We're going to give you information so you purchase the right vehicle. We're going to give you information on performance, handling, safety, visibility, seating, technology, features, design, quality. We'll give you cargo space, a value, and in the end we will give you a car coach reports total, which you want to stay for, because we'll also give you some pros and cons and who the competition is, because you want to test drive all those, and in the bottom we'll list them all in the description and links to those reviews so that you can make decisions that make sense for you. We want you to test drive these vehicles. Don't just buy them on anyone's reviews. It's really important to take it for a drive. Let's do that. This Camry is front-wheel drive and powered by a 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder engine with 118 horsepower. Add that electric motor, which is the hybrid portion, and you're at 208 horsepower. It also has a CVT transmission. Although this vehicle is sporty, it is not a sports car or a race car. 0 to 60, here we go. In the fastest mode, the sport mode, it's about 8 seconds. Does it need to be faster than that? No, it doesn't. Actually, for me, I would suggest driving it in the normal mode. That makes the most sense for everyone. Now, if you're thinking, I really don't want to spend the money at the gas pump because gas prices are getting higher, we can put it into the eco mode and still get the performance that we need. 44 miles to the gallon in the city, 47 on the highway. This is a very comfortable vehicle to drive every day. In the eco mode, I think it's a bit underpowered, but you're not driving fast. This is you're driving around town. For me, the normal mode seems great. Remember that the EV mode, which a lot of people like to use, after 30 miles an hour, it'll then transition to the gas mode. So it's a combination. And you need to keep that in mind that it's not a replacement for one or the other. Now, if you're driving around town and you're doing low speeds, the EV mode is perfectly fine, and you may never use a drop of gasoline. It's a great way to save a few bucks. Other things to know when it comes to this vehicle, it has really good performance compared to the other vehicles in this category. The Sonata, the Mazda 6, the Civic are the main competitors for this vehicle. And that's something to keep in mind when you drive them. There's a list of even more of those vehicles down below, and you can check them all out. But for this vehicle, when you're talking about performance, which is not about performance, even though it is sporty, earns an 8. When it comes to handling, this is something that's really important. It's not just about how it drives around corners, it's about the comfort of the ride, which I have to say is very comfortable, even over the rough roads here in New York State. I purposely take this on daily drives. I drive it for a week, so I get a good feel for what it's like, and I was really impressed with the comfortable drive of this vehicle. It's also important to know there are 4 drive modes. You have your EV mode, you have your eco mode, you've got your normal mode, and your sport mode. Like sport mode, forget about it. You're never going to really use it, but that's part of the handling. The ride is excellent. The steering is also really comparable to other cars in this class. You're not going to get in this car and say, oh, I can't stand it. You're going to get in this car and say, this is an impressive, comfortable ride that you could drive every day. There is one thing you do need to know, that at highway speeds, if you're going 65 miles an hour or higher, depending upon what state you live in, you might notice a little bit of floating. And that's partly because this is such a heavy vehicle, but it's something to keep in mind. So if you're going to test drive the other vehicles, test that out as well. It's very important, but handling overall was very impressive in this vehicle, and it earns an 8. The first one that you see is lane departure warning. You can turn that on or off. The next one is the distance you want between you and the vehicle in front of you. Again, you can adjust that. There's your standard cruise control. That's your blind spot monitoring, which is on. And RCTA is your rear cross traffic alert. That's important. This is your sign notification, which is what's on your navigation system. And then that's all your additional settings. You can customize it the way you would like to have it. There's a lot of safety on this vehicle. And for safety, it earns a 9. When you're talking about visibility, you have to remember it's a part of safety, which is why it comes right after safety, because 80% of your driving decisions are based on visibility. And when you're looking at the Camry, it is a huge front piece of glass, and that's excellent. So you have great forward visibility and low sills, which I really appreciate. You can put your arm up here and it's not up so high like you see on some vehicles. They've done a nice job so all the passengers can see very easily out the windows, especially when you got children in the back in car seats. They want to be able to look out the window as well. And this is also very easy to look out the window. However, you can see right there, these headrests are in the way, and you would want them there in case somebody sits back there. Note that it does limit the visibility as well as a sedan-looking vehicle. Although it looks sporty, it does limit some of the visibility. When you're looking at visibility for this vehicle, there is a backup camera. When you put your foot on the brake, you put it into reverse, you have a regular backup camera, not an around view camera. And when you're looking at visibility as a whole, it earns an 8. When you're thinking about seating, you always think about right here where you sit. But I always tell people there's one thing you have to think about, and that's this adjustable height seat belt. We're all built differently, and you don't want that seat belt cutting your neck. So every vehicle should have that. Most do. But don't find yourself buying a vehicle and then you're uncomfortable with the fact that it's cutting you across the neck. When you're looking at seats, we're all built completely different. These are sportier seats. This seat has power lumbar and power seats. The passenger side has no lumbar, which is kind of disappointing because when you're driving a vehicle like this, you want both people to be comfortable, especially if you're going on a family road trip and you switch drivers. Why should the passenger be uncomfortable? I've been complaining about this for years to manufacturers. Many of them are starting to catch on. Not all of them. Toyota still hasn't done it here in the Camry. It's just something that's a personal thing to me. I do not have a back problem. Let's take a look at the second row and we'll give it a rating. Going into the back seat, there is a ton of room. I'm 5'8" and I'm all legs. I set the seat this way for me. There's tons of room. If you're taller than me and you're all legs, you'll have no problem whatsoever. When it comes to headroom, it could be a little limiting if you're taller than I am. So it's important that you sit in the back seat and see what works for you. Now, when you're looking at the vehicle itself, as far as other things that are back here, there is 2 pockets, very nice, and on the doors there is a little cup holder. When you pull down the center armrest, there are 2 cup holders, and that's it. No pass-through and no charging ports here behind the center console. I'm kind of disappointed because you would think back here, kids are always going to want to be charging their devices, and there's no place to do that. You'll have to run a cord to the front. When you're looking at seating overall, this Camry earns a 7. When you're looking at the technology of this vehicle, it is not what's right in front of you. It is this brand new center screen. Now, the standard center screen is a 7-inch, but this is the optional 9-inch screen. Now, what you're getting is something that's a lot bigger than the previous generation, but what's great is standard Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Amazon Alexa. That's really important information for people. Also, the built-in navigation is offered on the higher trims. When you look at the navigation, it is kind of dated, but we typically use the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto that we have. When you press this home button, it goes back to the center screen. You then have the option of your music or the engine and the battery and what's included. Now, this is kind of neat. This is part of the technology. You've got your engine motor, and then of course the battery here, which is underneath the vehicle. Your trip information, which will give you a lot of great information, how long it's been running, what kind of usage you have. This is all great. And also the energy, which is what we're talking about right now. Going back to that home screen, again, there's not a lot of options. You've got your map, your audio, which is JBL audio, really good quality, your ability to seek and scan, your phone, and your apps. Now, this is something that's part of the original Toyota Entune system, and so that's up to you what you choose to put there. But right now there's no apps in this car because that's how they deliver it to us for us to be able to play around. Some of the technology is pretty basic on this car, but you really need to know that even when you go into reverse and you're expecting a good quality camera, It's an okay camera. It's not great. It gives you the ability to change the view, which is nice, but no around view camera, and it allows you to pick the line. So if you're not good at backing up, this helps you know that left is right and right is left when you're going in reverse. Overall, when you're looking at technology for this vehicle, I know it's a hybrid, has some pretty cool technology. It earns an 8. When you're looking at the features in this vehicle, there's nothing to really go crazy about over last year's version. Here you've got your safety features, which we talked about in safety, and of course your ability to set your cruise control and your audio system. On this side, you can change these buttons, and what you're getting is you can see between the gauges, it'll move, and you can pick what you want. Do you want the different fuel economy information, when it's on battery, and so forth? And if you press the up button, you then have other things. This is the safety we talked about. And then, of course, your ability, what the status is, what you have and what you're using. I think that's really important information. Your audio system, great for keeping your hands on the wheel. And you can see that little to the left of the dial over here. It lists everything that you would need. Pretty simple to use, nothing really fancy. You've got your regular gauges here, which I really prefer because we don't know what's going to be down the road if you're buying this vehicle used, the impact of all this digital. Is it going to be expensive to repair? In addition, you'll see that this is the eco and power and the charge mode, as well as your temperature. You shouldn't have any problems with that. There is also a paddle shift, which I kind of chuckle at because I don't know who's going to be using the plus or the minus buttons. Your normal stalks are here for your lighting, your turn signals, and your wipers are here. On the left side, you've got your gas door, the trunk, the traction control, and your automatic headlights. There is a push button start, which most vehicles have, especially the higher trim levels. We talked about the technology, that's normal. And as you go down, you've got this nice ventilation system. You've got your normal controls, easy to use, nothing unusual. And of course your sync. When you go further down here, you've got your wireless charging. That is pretty neat, but underneath this wireless charging is more secret storage. I think it's great if you want to put your wallet, some money, whatever it might be. Great idea. So I've never seen that before. There's storage underneath, so that's well done. In addition, you've got a 12 volt and 120 outlet extra USB charging. So there's 3 different charge types, but they're only here in the front. They're not in the back. Also to note, there are 2 cup holders, nothing unusual, but this is part of the drive modes we talked about, and you're looking at eco, normal, and sport. There really is no sport to this vehicle. That's your auto hold at a traffic light, so if you take your foot off the brake, the vehicle won't roll forward. And your EV mode, which is really good if you're sitting in traffic or waiting for your kids to come out of something, whatever it might be, going through a drive-through, great idea. When it comes to the heating, there's 3-stage heating on both sides of the front. There's also optional ventilated. It's not on our car that we're test driving, but good to note. Some really nice details, by the way, on the interior. We talk about that in quality as well. I think they did a nice job. JBL audio, which is also excellent. That is an 800-watt JBL audio system. And when you go into this glove box, there are 2 more charging ports, which is great for the back seat, so you can drag a cord to the back for your kids. Nice storage here. You also have storage in the door. Not a lot, but just enough. When you're looking at features overall, including the standard sunroof in this Camry, it earns an 8. When you're looking at the design of the new Camry, you can see that they've changed the front end, but they've made a few changes on this XSE. Remember, it's a little sportier. The silver all the way across the front, the matte black on the lower. You can see we have a little bit of salt from the snow. It's been really snowy here in the Buffalo area. But what you're seeing is what happens when you own this car. Shiny up top, flat at the bottom, it doesn't stand out as much, even on this splitter, which is a flatter color. This is all designed to make your car always look nice, and they did a nice job with that. You'll also note there are new daytime running lights that are here, just a unique mark. Each company likes to kind of stand out in the crowd so you can see their vehicles. This is a useless grille. It's part of the look. It has no function at all. There's no ventilation, but it does give a sportier look. The XSE has standard black 19-inch wheels. I think they look really good and fit in nicely with the black roof and the black caps, which makes this vehicle look a lot sportier. We do have Bridgestone Blizzaks on. These are great winter tires. Highly recommended if you live in the upper half of the country. If you live in the lower half, all seasons should be okay unless you see winter at least 3 to 4 times a year. It's worth the investment, and the traction is improved. Not great for the summer, but really great in the snowy conditions. Working your way back, you get your hybrid logo, you've got your black caps, and of course, your black roof. As you work your way around to the back with the LED taillights and this black spoiler, again, part of that sporty look, this isn't a sports car, but if you're going to own an XSE, you want that sporty look, and this sort of puts it all together and makes it a nice package. Across the back, you've got your spoilers. I'm not really a fan of this black vent. It's part of the design. It is not functional. And then you've got a splitter in back. Again, this is not a sports car. I think they're trying to kind of make it look sportier. You also have your Camry logo here, which is unfortunately covered in snow. It's gotten really bad here. Actually, we're expecting another storm. XSE and your hybrid. I'm not too worried. This vehicle handles really well through the snow, as we discussed when it comes to handling. When you're looking at the design overall, it deserves an 8. Quality is an important factor when you purchase a car, and the Toyota Camry definitely has that. It's been around for a long time. It's a very reliable car and has great resale value, and that will actually help in your leasing numbers, which we'll talk about when it comes to value. Really important thing to consider. 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, but this hybrid has a 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty on the battery. Now that's impressive because to replace these batteries is very expensive. There's also rust-through protection. When you're looking at the quality, the inside build, the materials and what they used, the quality of the exterior materials, the build quality, the gaps, everything combined, for quality, this Camry earned a 10. Coming around to the back, we have 15.1 cubic feet of storage in this trunk. This is not the largest in this segment. The Accord has around 16, so if you need that extra cubic foot, you might want to look at the Honda Accord, which is a direct competitor to this vehicle, and we have reviewed it down below. Also, the Hyundai Sonata is a competitor, as well as the Mazda 6. We reviewed all of those. Again, that link is down below. We have a carpeted mat here, 60/40 split seats if you need to put the seats down, giving you that extra storage that you might need. When you're talking about the value of the Camry, the hybrid Camry starts at $33,000. Very reasonable price for a mid-size sedan. I think they give you a lot for your money. And when you're looking at the competitors, they're also in that category, giving you a lot for your money. This vehicle came in around $37,000. It has the amazing red interior, which I really think is really cool, and it has a sporty look. You don't have to buy the XSE. There are lower trim levels if you want the hybrid. What you're getting in a package all combined, and we'll talk about that in a second, and the total really gives it an excellent value. When you're looking at the value score of the Camry compared to its competitors, it earns a 9. When you take all 10 categories and you put them together, you can see that Toyota has done a great job upgrading this vehicle. Not that much more than the 2020, but when you're looking at what you're getting for this, especially the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto, the Amazon, the upgraded interior, the bigger screen, that's what consumers want. They want to have something that makes them feel more comfortable, intuitive to what they use on a daily basis. And the Camry has really made some great improvements. Although there aren't in some areas such as performance and fuel economy, you are getting some big improvements overall. The looks are great as well. Again, pick your trim level that works for you. Taking all 10 categories into account, the 2021 Camry Hybrid, this is the XSE, earns an 83. Now also check out all the competitors, and before you make a decision, you're like, I like this one versus that one, check with your insurance agent. That's really a big deal. There's 2 factors to consider. If you're leasing this vehicle, you have to look at what the vehicle's worth afterwards. It's called residual value. That will affect your payments, but also part of your payments is your insurance, and people don't necessarily consider that. These are factors you need to have in your head before you make your final decision. Once you've got that information, you can have car smarts and make a great decision. There's more information on our website, Car Coach Reports. There's a link down below, and also on our channel about documentation fees, what to pay, what not to pay, how to save money on insurance, and a lot of other great tips. We just want you to have a car that you love. And if you did buy a Camry or you owned a Camry, we want you to put it in the comments down below. I love it, I hate it. Why did you buy something else? Why did you buy this vehicle? Did you take it for a test drive? What did you think? This is how we open the community, start the conversations. We also discuss this on all forms of social media. My channel is @LaurenFix. Don't forget to check out our podcast, Total Car Score. It's on all platforms. We discuss not just the cars, we give you some updated information, some neat things that are coming out you won't hear anywhere else. If you got value from this video, make sure to like it and share it with your friends. If I didn't answer a question, there's a lot on this car, put it in the comments down below and I will get you an answer. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.